when I started having sober sex and was more present for it and realizing I had to have sober sex with people because I already started relationships where we had drunk sex all the time. So eventually you're going to eventually have sober sex. And I hated it. I was like, I'm not attracted to this person. I like this person as a friend, but this is not hot to me at all. And I started to feel like when it would continue, I was like, I'm myself with this guy.
Jesus.
Like I'm betraying the person in me that says I don't want this because I'm scared of the reaction. And it felt like then I would get mad at myself. And at one point I remember this guy, we were like hooking up. He's like my boyfriend. And I just was disgusted by him for whatever reason. Like nothing gross about him. Like it just was an energy. I was just like over it. And I just stopped him and I said, get out of me. That's all I could say, which is the worst way to say it.
Oh my God. If somebody said that to me, I would probably cry on the spot. Get out of me.
I know. He was very upset and I probably owe him an apology because it had nothing to do with him. It was like, I was just so scared of how much he loved me that it made me sick because I hated myself so much that he disgusted me in that way. Like he was too gentle and like nurturing and loving.
You are intense,
This was me in
girl.
2000. This was like a week before I quit drinking actually.
Well,
that happened.
That was one of the last straws.
And
that makes
so
sense. Yeah.
It was 10 years ago. I mean, I don't feel that now. I'm much better about it, but what I do still struggle with because even though I know I've stopped so many guys in the middle of things being like, you need to leave. You're not doing enough for me to even consider blowing you. And you keep going to this blowjob.
Wait, why?
You haven't even touched my pussy. Why would I ever suck your dick? Like, you have no idea. Like that offends me. That's when I get mad and I can stand up for myself. But John, like, just be like, you don't have to lie, but just be like, listen, I'm just really in my head right now and it's just not working for me. It has nothing to do with you. And
yeah,
like,
do that, John.
If she takes it personally, it's her fault because the truth is it has nothing to do with her.
Nikki, you know what happens next once I fuck that? Gay Reddit threads all over the place.
I get it. But let's just say we're getting ahead of it right now. Right, like we know where it will come from if that does happen. If girls say, "Oh my God, I hooked up with them," and then you do run that risk of girls being so their egos being so bruised that they can attack you and call you gay. I've done it for guys that don't like me. I go, "Oh, he's gay. He must be gay if he doesn't want this." Like that's not even your problem either. It's such a low,
that was just a
and
joke. I wouldn't care at all.
No, it's not a joke. It's serious. Like girls do feel
so
that way when
lazy.
they get rejected.
When they do like, you have a small penis or you're gay, it's like, oh boy, we're going.
It's actually honestly, it reminds Taylor back when she was problematic had that line. She goes, "You'll tell my friends I'm obsessive and crazy. That's fine. I'll tell mine you're gay."
Ooh, Taylor.
Yeah.
I didn't know she said that.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Well,
wow.
that was Taylor 10 years ago.
Right. Everybody grows and
I would
evolves.
say even more. She probably wouldn't write that lyric now. I feel the same way. Taylor's changed my perspective of relationships. I love writing. Like I'm trying to become a singer-songwriter right now. Like it's my new like secret mission I'm like obsessed with it because I just realized like that's what I wanted to do the whole time. I just was like got shamed about being a bad singer when I was in high school. And so I just like was like, I guess I'll talk for a living. And it's worked out. But now I always related to her in the sense that like, I would talk about ex-boyfriends on stage. Guys don't even want to date me because no celebrities who value their privacy would ever consider dating me. I was thinking about like, oh my God, maybe I'll date a celebrity someday. I'm like, none of them would because they all are hiding parts of themselves that they wouldn't want me blabbing about on my next special. And then I realized that Taylor Swift, she wrote a whole album with scathing songs that have nothing to do with the relationship she's in now. They're based on, romance novels she was reading or her friends' lives. You can still create things and talk shit about guys on stage in a different way and not ever say anything bad about the person you love. So like I'm looking for the relationship that is going to be my Joseph Alwyn, where I keep it private and I don't put it all over Instagram and it's just for me. And it's not to get validation that I'm like cool or that I have a boyfriend and that I don't ever say anything mean about. And I only like lift them up and make them feel like good and safe because I just never even knew that kind of like love existed. And now I've had a sense of it recently and I'm like, oh shit. I'm going to Taylor Swift eventually.
Well, see, I think that kind of love is like, it's like, I think of it as like bromance, like guy love. Like
we're the meanest to each other.
I'm like, and I'm not mean, right? Like I'm saying it's out of love, but like I'm busting your balls. And those are the most healthy relationships I've been in.
I'll talk about my husband and what he does with his toothbrush or something. But in terms of being like, I always know when a comedian is going to get divorced because of how they talk about their spouse in their act. I've seen it. I've predicted, I think, 3 or 4 where I go, you can't come back from that.
Yeah.
He just said something about his wife that was so hateful, like had hate in it, disdain. It makes sense because that's where you work that stuff out. You can do it a little bit more metaphorically and obtusely in songs, but in comedy, on The Tonight Show, you're saying that you wish your wife would have drowned on that trip or what,
yeah.
I know it's
this was
funny,
a huge
but that's
problem
not worth it.
When I was married, like all the all the jokes and the shit I would talk on the podcast were like relationship shit. Like it was almost hacky, to be honest. It was very like, but it was why it was relatable, because every other couple that had like a tough relationship was like, oh, I can relate to that. It was never like specific things, but I don't know, it didn't fly at home and she wasn't happy about it, so like that was that. But
people have different boundaries with it.
Yeah, right. It's like it doesn't matter.
I will I used to take out my anger on men on stage in ways that were vicious, and that I wanted them to hear it and feel really sad and like hurt them because they had hurt me.
See, I don't think I've told some stories that upset exes. I've never told a story about a current girlfriend that was, I don't think me, and that's obviously my personal opinion, but I don't think I think usually I kind of tell funny, cute things. But I've told I feel like it's fair game once it's an old story.
But also there's a difference between if you, like you said that they hurt you, right? Does that mean that like they hurt your feelings and broke your heart because they just wanted to break up and move on, or they like did something shitty? Because I think that's a difference. If it's just like, yo, listen, this isn't working, and I break up with you, and then you're like, I'm going to murder you on stage.
It was the first one, but it was done really sloppily, and it happened on a dime where it was like, it just changed overnight without any explanation. However, that's okay. Like, you can't help how you feel. I couldn't help that suddenly my boyfriend was disgusting to me, and I said, get out of me. Like, you can't help if you suddenly have no feelings for me. And I used to take that so personally and be like, he could have controlled this. And it's like, you can't. And so I used to be so hurt by that. And so, and the real reason I would go after them in my act and be vicious is because I wasn't actually being able to express my feelings to them and what it was, which was like, I feel less than, I feel rejected, I feel like I'm not as good as other girls, I feel dirty, I feel gross, I feel old, I feel ugly, I feel fat, whatever. And I'm using this my anger at you to mask all those feelings, because what you just did validated to me in my twisted mind. So now you're the reason I am like, you're my only issue. If you wouldn't have done that, you fucked up my life, and now you're gonna pay, and you can't even understand my pain. So I'm gonna try to just do it back to you. I'm just gonna hurt you because you don't even have the ability to understand it. And some guys don't. Some of these circumstances, I could have told these guys, listen, this is how you made me feel, and handle it in a way that was like, tried to get them to empathize, because I just would want guys to go, I know that what I did really hurt you. Like, that's all I kind of wanted.
Right.
And just maybe I could have gotten that from some of them, and maybe not from some of them, because some people aren't capable of feeling empathy for others. But still, that's on me. It's not on them. Like, I can't do this blame. I can still make fun of guys because it's funny, but no more of like, I want to ruin your life and actually make you. I don't want to do anything that makes someone feel bad ever.
Okay.